Well, good morning. It is Tuesday, December the 14th. The Psalms for today are Psalm 66 through 70. I don't know whether or not you've realized this, but you probably have it. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes life is difficult, and we feel overwhelmed, and we don't know what to do. Psalm 68, when I was reading Psalm 68, it's written by David, and I was thinking about David's life. And we don't know a whole lot about David's life when he was a youngster. He first burst on the national scene, if you will, when he goes and visits his brother who are in the army, Israel's army, fighting the Philistines. And he goes and visits them, and he hears somebody making fun of God's army. And he goes out there, and there's this huge Philistine named Goliath who is taunting God's army. And David hears this, and he looks around and he says, "Aren't y'all going to do anything about this? Why are you letting this uncircumcised Philistine make fun of you all and taunt God's army? Do something about it." And they were all going, "Well, we can't do anything. Look at him. He's huge." And David says, "Well, if you all aren't going to do anything about this, I will, because this should not be allowed to stand." And so David takes his sling, picks up 5 smooth rocks from the brook, and goes out there and kills Goliath. And we're told a whole lot more about his life after that. He becomes king, and he does some great things while he's king, but he also does some horrible things. One day he's standing on the roof of his palace and he sees this beautiful woman taking a bath, and he says, "Wow, she that is pretty. She's beautiful. And I'm king and I can find out who she is and I can get her over here to the house." And so he does. And he has an affair with Bathsheba. And when he finds out she's pregnant with his child, he tries to cover it up. And when he can't, he has her husband killed. And the rest of David's life is played out in public. He was never going to be nominated, much less win Father of the Year. He was never going to be nominated, much less win Husband of the Year. But through all of the trials and tribulations of his life, and again, those great moments of faith, and then those great failures, if you will, played out in public, God understood that David wanted to have the heart of God. And sometimes he did, and then sometimes he didn't. But one of the things that David writes in Psalm 68 is in verse 19 when he says, "Blessed be the Lord who daily bears our burden, the God who is our salvation." And even though David showed great faith at times and was seeking to be a man after God's own heart, he also understood that he couldn't get through life on his own. He was reminded of his failures on a daily basis. And he knew he just couldn't handle the day-to-day activities of life by himself. And so he laid his burdens at the feet of God. And he said, "Blessed be the Lord who daily bears our burden." And sometimes we try to get through some of the difficulties of life on our own. And we say to God, "Hey, I got this one. I can handle this one. Why don't you take care of this issue over here? I can handle these small things. You take care of the big things in life." And the fact of the matter is, we ought to get up every morning and we ought to get down on our knees and we ought to lay our burdens before the Lord. And we ought to give him thanks for carrying our burdens, because there's simply no way we could make it through life trying to do it ourselves. We don't have the strength. We don't have the smarts. We don't have the endurance. Lay our burdens at the feet of the Lord, and He'll take care of us. Well, I pray that you'll have a great day.